Welcome to Tesla Life. If you like this video, please subscribe and share the video with your friends. And I would appreciate it if you press that little like button. So here's my story. I had a 98 hoping to get 10.5, and I let someone drive my car and they got a 52 score with just 12 miles. And that really hurt me, and so I got down to 97, and I'm trying to get back to 98. And last night I did this, and it told me I needed 36 more miles with a 100 score to get to 98. The link for that website's in the description. Very useful for figuring out how many miles you need to get to a particular score. So it's not as easy as you think to score 100. I wanted to do a video to show you exactly how you can get 100. So here we go.
Hey everyone, I need to get 36 more miles with a 100 score. So I'm going to show you how you get 100 score while driving. And there's three basic tricks. One is to basically never use your brake pedal unless you're having to come to a complete stop like here. Actually, I didn't even have to touch my brake pedal. But key is driving slow enough everywhere to really never have to hit your brake pedal. Now you can hit your brake pedal, but if you hit it hard in any fashion, like here I'm slowing down, you're going to get dinged for hard braking. So, you know, key is basically driving slow enough and cautious enough to not have to brake. Second, don't turn sharply. So when making all of your turns, go slow enough that you can turn slowly. So I'm going to be making a left here. Well, I have a stop sign to come to, but come to a stop. Now I'm going to let this car go because I don't know what he's going to do, and I want him to sort of get out of my way so that I don't have to brake or turn sharply. So hopefully this person will go. They're not going. I guess I'll go. I don't know what they're up to. Okay, and third, you need to stay away from the car in front of you. So here we're going to have a car in front of us, and we want to keep a very good gap between the car in front of me. Any kind of tailgating, you're going to get dinged. Now, I had heard that only takes into account if you're driving 50 miles an hour or faster. So I'm not 100% sure of this, but for a variety of reasons, you want to keep the car in front of you. Keep a good distance from the car in front of you. One, if they brake quickly, you're going to have to brake. Two, if they make a turn, they might slow down and make the turn, and you would actually get close to them, which could be unsafe following distance as they're making a slow turn. So I think I've gotten dinged by that a bunch of times. So stay far away from cars in front of you. Leave as large a gap as possible. When you're driving 50 miles an hour, definitely want to leave between 1 and 3 seconds gap between you and them. It's pretty similar. You can sort of get a feel for that distance by turning on your cruise control, setting it to 5, 6, or 7 separation distance. I think I have mine at 6 and 7, so I keep it pretty high. You can also turn on cruise, which is a good way to keep a good following distance. I'll probably turn on cruise once I get on the highway here coming hit the brake pedal here, so I'm letting it brake by itself well in advance of having to stop. Again, I'm going to leave a nice gap there, let the cars take off in front of you. And again here, I'm not going to speed into this stop. I'm going to start slowing down ahead of time. You're sort of driving like an old man, but what's interesting is there's no ding for speeding or driving fast. It's more about keeping the cars in front of you away, far enough ahead as you drive. So I need to stop here. I got a green signal so I can go. Again, there you go. So I have a really good gap there. I can drive at any speed I want here. I just can't get too close to that car in front of me. And there's a light coming up, so I will slow down well in advance of that light so that I don't have to hit my brakes. I basically want to let the regen braking bring you to a stop if possible. So I'm going to start releasing my foot a little bit here and completely off the power pedal, and then I'll put it back on a little bit just to come up close to the car. No problem being relatively close to the car at 0 speed or 1 or 2 miles an hour. It's coming up quick and stopping is the problem. I also put my warning for forward collision to the highest sensitivity setting, so that it would warn me, and I still got that from time to time. A lot of times it was because the car in front of me was making a turn, and I would pull up behind them as they're slowing to make the turn. You have to really let that car get out of your forward vision, because otherwise it thinks you're going to run into the car. So this is a pretty good gap here. I'm probably 3 seconds behind it. If I get a little closer, I'll be about 2 seconds behind it, and you might not want to get any closer than about this at 50 or 60 miles an hour. Now I'm going over the speed limit, but you don't get dinged for going over the speed limit. It's the other problem in highways is sometimes you're going to get somebody cutting in front of you, so right like that. So if I was too close to that front car, sometimes cars would cut in front of me, and I think I got dinged for a car cutting in front of me, and then all of a sudden I have a car in front of me that's closer than that 1 to 3 second window, or less than 1 second at 50 miles an hour. As you get faster, that 1 second is probably longer, closer to 1.5 seconds, maybe at 60 or 70 miles an hour. So again, driving with a big gap. I need 36 miles, so I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to go out 18 miles and then come back. So I might turn on cruise here. That ding was just green light. If you're close to the car in front of you, you don't get you don't have to acknowledge green lights, but I don't want to be close. So I have my following distance set to, I'm going to set it to 7. Give a nice large gap. What I think I've read is if you have cruise control on and a car cuts in front of you, it may not penalize you. So there is an advantage to turning on cruise. The problem is you don't get credit, I believe, leave the following distance. So I'm going to hit the brake here because it's sometimes on cruise it doesn't slow down fast enough, and it might actually use your brakes. So I'm going to try to slow down here. Manually. Again, keep a nice little gap, a little larger gap than I normally would. Not an excessive gap, but just a little larger than normal. Prevents, I don't know, strange braking. You really want to look at the cars in front of the car in front of you for braking. You can see everyone's braking up here to make this turn to get on 295. Again, I'm going slow. I'm not running up this guy's butt. Get on the highway here. And I think I'll do a mixture of cruise control, autopilot, and manual. The manual, I believe, reduce your any dings to your following distance. If you're going more than 50 miles an hour and you stay about this far away, you can reduce your bad score following distance. I think I read if you have it on cruise or autopilot, you don't get any credit for that. You're still going to get 100 score, which is what I need now. I need 100 score. So here, somebody cutting in front. You got to be careful about these people cutting in front. I think I've gotten dinged a bunch of times. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about that, but I was able to see he had his blinker on, so I slowed down a little bit. So I'm going to put it on cruise here. Again, no problem going over the speed limit. You don't get dinged. You would think they would track that and give you bad points for driving too fast, but it doesn't seem like they care about that. So on highways, my best advice is stay away from congested traffic. I got nobody behind me. Maybe I'll slow down here a little bit. That cop was facing the other direction, so I didn't have to worry there. But there's nobody behind me, which is great. A little bit of congestion up here, so it's slowing down because I'm on cruise. And I think I'm going to be safe. But basically, try to stay away from traffic. The worst thing you can probably do is get on a highway with a lot of traffic, with people changing lanes left and right. If you want to get 100 scores, sometimes you just have to drive somewhere. Just be as careful as possible. But if you're trying to get 100 scores, find a road that's not congested. So again, here, notice that that car's, you got to get that, the car in front of you has to be completely out of your lane for it to not consider you following too close to that car. I see that truck coming, so I'm going to get in the other lane here. Get out of it. See how that car broke real quickly? I would have had to brake, and that would have been a ding right there. So really look out and look for any kind of problem and slow down well in advance of any kind of problem. So if I wasn't able to get over into the left lane there, what I would have needed to do, again, somebody cutting in front of me, so be careful, is I would have had to really slow down, saw that a truck was coming, slow down a lot in anticipation of that truck coming into my lane and I'm getting stuck behind the truck. You basically just have to anticipate slow traffic. in your lane that you can't get out of, and really slow down well in advance of any problem with regen braking, if ideal. I was looking at my distance. That little beep was I was going off lane, out of lane. I don't believe I've ever gotten dinged for that. I have all the settings on that if I'm going out of a lane, warn me. Again, you would think that would be something you get dinged for. I'm almost positive I will not get dinged for that. Once I go 16 miles here, I can turn around to get my 36, or 18, excuse me, I got 18 miles to get my 36 miles. Probably go 20 just to have a little cushion. When a car comes up, if you think there's a chance they're going to cut in front of you, you might want to slow down after they pass you, so that they don't get in here. I think being in cruise control is going to help prevent. Actually, let's go on autopilot. Now, the only problem with going on autopilot is you really got to keep your hands on the wheel, and not just your hands on the wheel, you've got to keep torque on the wheel. Because if you get the warning that it senses your hands are not on the wheel, which really is hands on the wheel with a little bit of torque, you're going to get dinged for that. That ding, they say, just blows you completely out of the water. So, no problem going on autopilot. Just make sure you keep the torque on the wheel. Car's going real slow, so I'm going to slow up also and find a nice spot to pass them. Again, when you're changing lanes into another lane, you've got to realize that you don't want to cut over right behind someone. Cut back. Sometimes the way I used to drive, somebody would pass me and I would cut over right behind them. It's relatively safe, but at high speeds, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, I will be too close to them and probably get dinged for the following distance. If you've ever used the automatic lane change, you know it lets the car go past and then it cuts over a lot slower than most average drivers. Now, this guy, I'm on manual, so I've got to be careful. This is a slow driver. I could have easily run up behind them too close, and I've got to get away from them. So I'm going to change lanes. You really have to watch out for slow drivers. Key thing is you've got to watch out for the car in front of you driving really slow. I could have easily gotten up on that car's butt much too quickly. Again, no car in front of me. Whenever changing lanes, like if I changed the lane right there behind that car, I would have gotten dinged from too close. So we've got to have a constant large gap in front of you at all times. Now I can change lanes without, oops, I gotta watch out for that truck coming over to that lane. He didn't, but I was a little scared he might. So again, I'm gonna cut over. Staying in the left lane, at a good speed would probably be a safe bet, because nobody typically cuts in front of you on the left lane. Being in the center or right lane, you can definitely have people cut in front of you. So it might not be a bad idea if you're in a traffic jam to possibly stay in the left lane. Just keep your pace up so you're not holding up traffic. Got a nice big gap in front of me, big gap behind me, so I'm safe here. I've done my 16 miles. I'll take the next exit and turn around. I don't know whether more of my dings have occurred on local small streets or highways. You can definitely run into problems both places. You're definitely closer to cars on local roads a lot of times. I honestly don't know which is worse, or what's the best place to drive if you need to just drive to get some miles. Okay, I gotta get this truck. I'm gonna slow down because I'm afraid he's gonna pull in front of me. Good, he didn't. If you're taking an exit, get over to your exit lane well in advance. A lot of times, if you've had to merge into a whole bunch of traffic getting off, you're going to be driving too fast and get too close to a car in front of you and probably get dinged. So definitely slow down and get over well in advance, so that you don't have to merge into traffic and get dinged for following too fast. Again, I'm going to slow down so I don't have to use my brake pedal to come to a stop here. And again, no problem getting close to cars when you're just creeping. But as those cars start up, I am going to give them gap. Where I've gotten dinged once or twice, I don't know what this guy's doing over here. I've gotten dinged a few times in startups. Somebody starts up and then brakes for whatever reason, and I come up too close to them, and the forward collision can go off in those situations. So watch, I'm going to let them get a little bit of space as we start up, just in case they have to brake, like that truck's, they have to slow down for that truck. Giving them gap, plenty of gap. And on turns, again, notice how they run into trouble here. So I'm going to take this turn real slow. If I'm creeping, I am fine coming up on people's butts, I believe. Now, I might have been able to squeeze in there, but I didn't want to chance it. So I'm in a little bit of an awkward position here. Again, I'm going to let them go and then go. That's the key in starting up in traffic. Let the cars in front of you go. Normally, all of us, we just follow them very quickly. I'm not advocating this as a driving technique, because some of this is old man driving. I'm advocating if you want to get a 100 score, these are things you have to do. So don't beat me up in the comments. Again, I'm going to let them go a little bit and then follow just in case they break or stop. And I've got a gap. I think that was done well. I should have stopped and got out to see what my score was, but I think I'm doing pretty good. I wanted to get out halfway on my trip. Okay, I got to merge here. Again, I can't merge too quickly behind that car. I've got to leave a gap. And then, because I'm going 50 miles an hour already, I've got to keep a gap behind the car. I was a little close. I hope I didn't get dinged there. You can actually get a little bit of a ding and still get a 100 score. Car cutting in front of me, I slowed down a little bit. I'm trying to leave a nice big gap here. Right lane can be problematic because cars can cut in front of you being in the right lane. So I think I'm going to try to slowly get over to the left lane up here. Another car cutting in front. I can't turn into this lane here because that car is just too close to me, and I'll get dinged for going over 50 miles an hour. So I've got to wait for there to be a gap, but I got a truck behind me, so I can't cut off that truck. Now I've got to get over at least one lane, so I think I'm not going to get dinged for being too close to having a car behind me too close. Now there's not enough gap. Okay, so I'm going to speed up here. I think I can get in front of that truck up there. Again, there's no problem in how fast you drive. It's whether there are cars in front of you or you're going to brake. So I can speed up here without a problem as long as nobody cut in front of me. Now I've got a nice gap to get over. I don't think there's any problem in a car too close behind you. It's the car in front of you. So I couldn't get over behind that Mustang because I had a truck behind me that I would have cut off to get over and keep a big gap in front of that Mustang. So I just had to do that maneuver. People might be getting over to get off of this big exit here, so I am going to get over. I'm going to let that truck go a little bit, get a nice distance between us, then get over. Because I had a feeling he was going to get over or take that exit. I may not take the exit, but trucks typically come over if they're in the fast lane. I can drive faster here without a problem, nobody in front of me. But there was a police officer speed trapping people up there, so eventually I'm going to have to slow down. Now what I could do is get behind this truck, and if I stay that distance, manual driving here, I'm going to get some credit proper following distance. So again, 1 to 3 seconds. So if I watch him come off 1,000, 2 1,000, 3, so probably in the 2 to 3 range here. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3. Yeah, so I'm clearly 3 seconds away, or between 1 and 3. approaching exit, I would recommend always slowing down and watching for cars to cut across to get into that exit, cut in front of you. So nobody did there, but I have been dinged, I believe, from cars jumping in front to get to an exit. I'm going to try to follow this truck within 1 to 3 seconds gap. Or probably this car now. There's cars merging here, so probably want to get over or just slow down a lot. I think it's probably best to just get over because you can come, those cars can merge in front of you, and again, you're going 50 miles an hour, you're going to get dinged. These cars might cut in front, so I'm going to speed up here to try to prevent them from cutting me off. It's a little tricky what to do sometimes. I'm going to pass these cars and then get behind that one. Okay. So if I follow this car 1 to 3 seconds behind it, I will get some credit for proper following distance. Exit coming up, so I'm watching cars coming up on my left in case they're going to cut in front of me. Perhaps slowing down here a little bit just as they pass me. Okay, especially looking to see if they have a blinker to get over. Again, if the car goes off, make sure they're completely out of your lane before you run up against them. Don't see any other cars merging here, so I'm good here. Exit, watching my left to make sure nobody cuts in front of me. Merge here happening. I'm going to get over. That would have definitely been a problem if I had to slow down. I could have sped up in front of them, but it's a little dangerous. Car would have merged right in front of me, I would have definitely been dinged because I'm going pretty fast. Okay, so this is my exit 2 miles out. Pretty safe in this lane. Basically, anytime somebody passes you, see if they have their right blinker on. And if you see the right blinker on as they pass you, slow down, give them plenty of room to cut in front of you. And on exits, of course, just be aware of the car in front of you. Some people slow down tremendously on exits. Cruise control could help you control that maybe a little better. Or being on cruise control. I'm just watching this white car, making sure. And of course, coming off the power pedal so that you never have to touch your brake. It's pretty easy to do. I rarely ever touch my brake anyway, so I'm able to control my braking through regen braking most of the time. So hopefully I'm going to get to 36 miles. Let me see if I don't want to go to work. Hopefully it says 5.5 miles, so it's not going to be quite 36. Might have to drive up and back a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to take this turn slow. Should have been watching what I'm doing instead of watching the speed here. Okay, now on local roads, I think you have to be even more cautious on local roads. So I'm going relatively slow here. Again, trying to leave a big gap in front of me for any kind of stuff happening. I want to be able to see it happening well before I get in the middle of it. With lights, basically, I don't think you get dinged for going through a yellow or even a red light. What you're going to get dinged for is hitting your brakes hard. So slow down. If you're traveling fast, slow down a little bit as you're approaching a light to let it turn yellow so that you can come to a stop with very minimal braking, like right now. So I'm going to slow down a little bit. Once I get to that magic spot, I'm going to probably speed up just like that, so I get through without, yellow light, perfectly legal, no braking. Even if it had turned red, you're not going to get dinged for going through the red light, although you would think it could do that, but it doesn't seem to. The big thing you're going to get dinged for is hard braking if you don't watch the light and have to brake hard. Here I got another light coming up, so I'm slowing down, yellow, so now I can come to a complete stop without hitting the brake pedal. Now you can hit your brake pedal, you just can't hit it hard or do any kind of abrupt braking or abrupt stopping. I believe even though if you're driving real fast and you let go of the power pedal, you feel a relatively abrupt regen braking, stopping. I don't believe you ever get dinged for that. You get dinged for pressing the brake pedal where you're going to come to an abrupt stop. That beep is the green light chime. It's very quick. You don't get dinged for that. Now with nobody in front of me, I can start up very quick. I don't think there's any penalty for quick starts as long as there's not a car in front of you. If there's a car in front of you, take your time starting up. Let them continue to create a gap in front of you. Don't follow them closely. Watching this car in front of me in case he jumps to the right. I'm going to slow down. So slowing down well in advance of that red light. It did turn green, but it still stopped. Don't run up behind the cars in front of you. You'll get dinged. Leave a gap Always leave a gap. The bigger the gap, the better. See your score on screen here. Actually, like a running score, be very useful. I'll show you later, but you not only have to stop the car, you have to actually get out of the car. It looks like you have to get out of the driver's seat before your mobile app can determine your score for that trip. Try to get to 36 miles. Before I go down. Okay, a car cut in front of me. I slowed down. Let him cut in front of me well in advance. Watching these cars over here. Driving a little slower. Can speed up here. Turns, you can get take your turns a little slow. You don't want to create a lot of side acceleration, so take all your turns as slow as practical. Some ramps are can be a little sharp. We have to turn around up here, so I'm going to go into this wall and turn around. So here, don't zoom around the curve. Slow down, take your turn nice and slow. I think we're going to turn in here. So just take all of your turns softly. As softly as watching for cars behind you, that you're not causing problems. But this Chick-fil-A, it's usually jam-packed here. Can't believe it's not crowded. And don't speed up on a turn. I could have jumped out of that to get. I normally would have sped up to not bother that person here behind me. I didn't cut him off, but I would have had to turn and speed and turn, and it probably would have caused a problem. So I'm doing lots of turns here, but I'm going real slow on all these turns in this turnaround. Again, here going slow on the turn, and then speeding up. As long as you're going forward, you can speed up probably as fast as you want. It's turning, it's speeding up on a turn is going to probably dig you for sharp turns. 46 miles, I should be able to check my score. I think once I get off this little bypass here, I'll pull over and check if I'm finally back to 98 score. Slowing down well in advance here. I gotta get over to this lane. Getting too close to that car over there before I could turn to this lane could have caused a problem. Got to turn here. Gonna take this turn slowly. I think I can pull over right here and check my score. Okay. Cross my fingers.
So I uncovered that I took the calculation the night before, and a day with a lot of miles went off the radar, and so I actually need another 65 miles, which I'm going to do because I have to go travel somewhere. And when I was finished, I got my 98 score. So you can see here today I logged 117 miles, got a 100 score, and did have a small ding for unsafe following, but it wasn't enough to get below 100. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe on the top left and share the video with your friends. My other Model 3 videos are here in the middle. My Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts are on the right. And check out my new channel, Pickleball is Life. It's a great game, and subscribe on the bottom left. Take care.